So the UFC's greatest division is in quite the predicament. And how can there even be any problems with the most fun, the most violent division in this entire company? This division is stacked with fan favorites, exciting fighters, legends, and at this point, the home of the BMF belt. You know, as cringe as the belts may be. So yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said this is the most violent division. Maybe to the regular person out there that doesn't watch MMA would assume it's heavyweight since they're bigger and they punch harder. However, little do they know, there's an obesity crisis going on in the heavyweight division, along with the fact the champion doesn't want to fight anyone. Unless, of course, it's against the mother of his children. And even the pound-for-pound rankings contains 5 lightweight fighters. 1/3 of the pound-for-pound rankings is the lightweight rankings, including the pound-for-pound number 1 and what is potentially maybe the lightweight GOAT. But now we're left without a champion after Islam Makhachev vacated his title. I mean, to be fair, didn't really vacate it. More like UFC stripped him of it because they're desperate for events because they don't know how to run their company. And yeah, with the news this week of Islam Makhachev still planning to fight at lightweight and holding 2 belts at once, I guess the Ilia Topuria-Charles Oliveira fight is for a glorified interim belt. But thankfully, either way, there'll be a champion by the end of the month. And after weeks of Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev fans accusing each fighter of being ducks, I'm sitting here wondering to myself, how are we calling either of these guys ducks when John Jones still exists?
Let's call this what Islam's a duck.
And if it is Ilia Topuria to become the champion at 317, then fellas, we might just get the fight we've been begging for all year long. No, not Jones Aspinall, because Jones is a ducking but we can still get Topuria versus Makhachev. So with all things considered, you'd probably think, where's the problem here? This division sounds f***ing sick. And it is. However, when it comes to the contenders, it's a complete mess. I mean, starting off with the number 1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan, who has basically been doing everything in his powers to completely destroy his career. Because after pulling out of his title shot against Islam Makhachev due to blowing his back out trying to impress Nina Drama. Okay, to be fair, that might not be true, but I find that story funnier. Because from the sounds of things, it seems like he either didn't want to make the weight or just couldn't be to fight Makhachev that weekend.
Do you think he actually got injured or no? Or what do you think happened?
No, he's a little bitch ass. That's what you are, Arman.
Hunter, the CEO of UFC, he worked with Dana White, and he called me and said, hey, Moicano, I need you on the champion weight tomorrow, 155. Both guys are pretty heavy, so I don't have a replacement. If somebody goes wrong, we're gonna call you.
With Nina Drama, he was like wrestling and shit.
Yeah,
and
then he was doing them videos where he flips forward on his neck.
Right.
And then he's saying that he's got a bad back. Dana said, didn't he? That like doctors come out and Heather, the best masseuse and the PI, come out and they never said to him, you can't fight. He decided he's not gonna fight. So basically, Arman, you shit your pants.
Which honestly, perfectly understandable. I wouldn't want to fight Makhachev either. However, kind of annoying when we're wasting a pay-per-view on Makhachev running through Moicano with ease. And it doesn't even end there. After ruining an entire event and not being next in line, he's done nothing but refuse every fight come his way.
Мне предложили бой в Абу-Даби в июле, главный бой вечера, но я отказался из-за того, что они соперника предлагали того, с кем я не хотел драться, то есть ниже рейтингом.
Yeah, no shit he's ranked below you. You're literally ranked number 1, not allowed to fight for the title next. But considering Arman Tsarukyan's family are stinky rich and he has full access to Daddy's credit cards, whilst not really giving all that much of a about his career compared to the others, whilst being the least fan favorite out of the entire top 5 and probably having the least personality in the top 5.
Eat, sleep, repeat, so can't wait to get new fight and to get my belt.
That's what we all want to hear.
I mean, other than being a great fighter and pretty much the Bruce Wayne of the UFC, with the way he's been moving and basically become company enemy number 1, yeah, he's f***ed himself over. And whilst I'm editing this video, Arman Tsarukyan's just announced he'll be the backup for the title fight, so Arman Tsarukyan might have never been so back. And then we have the next contender in the rankings, which is in the process of f***ing himself over.
They owe me a championship fight. I'm 3-1, last 4. They came to my house, begged me to fight Max Holloway on UFC 300.
I mean, as far as begging goes, being begged to be on one of the most historic pay-per-views in the company's history, in a big fight with the biggest bonus for an imaginary belt, don't sound too bad to me.
What I consider it an exhibition fight. I don't mean that the loss is not on my record. I mean, it had nothing to do with the rankings of my, you know, and in the
I mean, if that's what you really think, then why would you even make the weight? Holloway is in the division and in the rankings. Somehow below Gaethje. The rankings are fucking dumb. And it's funny to me because had Gaethje won the fight, I highly doubt he'd be saying this shouldn't count. I'm pretty sure he'd be on the mic demanding a title shot.
In the time that I did that, Dustin Poirier, who I just beat, got a good win over St. Denis and then fought for the belt.
I mean, that was due to the circumstances of not many lightweights being available at the time, since Gaethje had just been knocked out brutally. It's not like he was given the title shot on the merit for beating St. Denis. Even the fans at the time thought it was a joke.
Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. The most undeserved title shot ever for Dustin Poirier. Let's give him a round of applause. Just a total pat on the back. Come on. This fight is a fucking waste of time.
And then Oliveira's 2-2 in his last fight. Already has a loss to Makhachev. And they bring a brand new guy in. And I get, again.
I mean, it's awfully convenient stopping at 4 fights. Oliveira has 13 wins in his last 15 fights, including a win over Gaethje. And as for Topuria, he was the featherweight champion that knocked out the guy that knocked out Gaethje.
So I was going to ask
I'm going to take a risky fight, and if I lose, I'm going to be set up. And if I win, I'm fighting for a belt.
Yeah.
Or I'm not doing it.
I understand we're in an era where contenders want to do the absolute minimum to earn a title shot, and I get it. Why bend over backwards, blowing your back out, trying to earn a title shot, if you can get one by basically saying you don't want to fight the contenders?
But I'm not going to just throw my legacy away for anybody, really.
No, it's very fair. I think if I had to guess, I would assume that you would have the title shot after this Ilya.
I'm waiting for them to announce it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I would love that.
But yeah, if you're wondering who these yes men are that are supporting Gaethje basically sabotage the end of his career, then this is the thumbnail they used for the podcast. Make of this information what you will.
So he was like I said, 2-2. I was 3-1. I mean, what do you want me to do?
No,
not my fault.
Fair.
Hooker dropped out.
I know. I was going to say that.
Sarukian should have got it, but he fucked himself, so that's his fault.
Kind of like fucking over your chances of a title shot by accepting a fight that you get knocked out in. And for whatever reason, we can't get a Gaethje and Sarukian fight, but we can have them compete to see who pisses off the UFC more. And I could tell why we can't get a Gaethje-Sarukian fight. Gaethje's definitely not going to fight him.
So when Hooker pulled out, they offered me the fight. I think Gaethje said no, and he just picked right opponent because...
But enough about Gaethje. On to the next guy in line in the rankings, who conveniently is also the guy that brutally knocked Gaethje out.
I still have title contentions in my mind, and a couple weeks before us, there's a title fight at 155, and I got history of both men, so I go out there, I do my thing, I make a statement, I get a statement win. Who's to say your boy not fighting for 155 undisputed title at the end of the year, so.
Now, if Ilya Topuria becomes champion, I feel like the Holloway rematch is kind of a tough sell at this point. But if Charles Oliveira becomes champion, then that rematch, now we're talking. Oliveira Holloway 2 with 2 belts on the line, especially if Holloway does Dustin the same way he did Gaethje, but I fucking dare Holloway to do Dustin the same way he did Gaethje. And last but not least in the top 5, maybe my personal favorite in the top 5, Dustin Poirier, who I understand has a retirement fight ahead of him against Holloway. So you're probably thinking to yourself, why is this dumb even bringing him up? But if this man wins his 3rd Holloway fight and the BMF title on a pay-per-view main event, then you already know they're going to be backstage begging this man to take on an Ilya Topuria title fight, harder than they begged Gaethje to get brutally knocked out by Holloway. And yeah, that's where we're at with the top 5 contenders in the lightweight division in this economy. But it doesn't stop there. Because not only does this division have some of the most violent, most loved, most entitled, and most rich contenders in the sport, but also has some of the biggest and best Dana White privilege boys we've ever seen. I mean, how the is Michael Chandler still even in the rankings? And I didn't even mean to refer to Michael Chandler. I'm talking about the other Dana White privilege boy, Paddy Pimblett. And listen, for those of you that watch the channel, you already know I'm biased. I'm British. I get biased for my British. But as the silly Brit I am, I have to be honest with all of you. I love the fact they're giving this man Paddy the easiest run to the title ever. And I don't give a fuck. I'm shameless about it. If Ilya Topuria is champion, you already know they're going to give Paddy Pimblett the title shot. And I'm all for it. I don't even give a fuck where he's ranked. Holloway's ranked below Gaethje, and he basically murdered him. The rankings mean nothing to me.
That could be done like early next year. Paddy winning the title. Easy. Maybe even this year.
If Ilya wins and says he wants to fight me, the UFC will make that fight.
I think so.
Because they know it's a money fight.
I know I'm shamelessly all for Paddy getting a title shot next. However, having to watch Aspinall sit there talking about Paddy Pimblett getting a title shot before he does, while he's eating a salad as a heavyweight, and Pimblett's having a milkshake in front of him. I feel so sorry for him. Jones ruined his life. And if they do make this fight, I'm sure my fellow Europeans can agree with me on this. If they don't put this fight in the Bernabeu, then I guess I'm gonna get upset, cry, and bitch on a video about it, but yeah. And yeah, that's the state of the lightweight division right now, with fights already coming up with big implications, like Topuria and Oliveira fighting for Makhachev's glorified interim title, followed by Holloway versus Poirier, which, again, I fucking dare you do him like you did Gaethje Holloway, and Paddy Pimblett's battle with diabetes. Ultimately, though, I love this division. Even if they fuck up the matchmaking, they're still good matchups, unless everyone just sits on their ass waiting for a title shot. Best case scenario, we finally get Topuria versus Makhachev 2026. Worst case scenario, Michael Chandler probably gets a title shot for beating Bobby Green. And Paddy Pimblett probably does get diabetes.
Sign up to my boy's YouTube channel. That is JG2. And for those who don't, you can do me a favor and you can bend the knee to King Triple C2.